I want to start off today to say someone who I adored, respected the craft that came from their mind, their words, David Bowie. He was my hands down all-time favorite musician of all time. You may know him by the name I formerly gave him of David fucking Bowie. Today's football picks are going to be made, and wildcard review are going to be made with David Bowie playing in the background. Rest in peace, Davy Jones, if you don't know that's what his real name is. Anyways, sappy shit out of the way. We got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. By the way, if you want to know what my favorite David Bowie songs are, they're going to be playing in the list that I compiled here today. I can't remember a more fascinating wild card weekend of games. I'm watching these games, and like every time one game ends, I'm like, how much crazier can this week get? Oh my god. Let's get to it. This is Ground Control to Major Tom. You've really made the... Alright, I'm going to try not to sing over Bowie, but it's hard. Kansas City at Houston. This game is of particular interest to Eagles fans in that there is no way the Texans can go into next year with Hoyer at quarterback. Alright, been there, done that, tried that, bye-bye. What I mean for Philadelphia fans and why you should take particular note of that is that a team like that will pay through the nose to get Sam Bradford, and if we expect him to hit free agency and just turn down everyone else, or be like, the Eagles will make a middle of the water type offer and that'll be good enough to get Sam Bradford back here, I hate to break it to you, a team like the Texans will give him $25 million plus easily. Possibly as high as $30 million a year in a 4-year contract. And if you think I'm kidding, I don't know what football team you're watching, because that Texans team needs a quarterback right now. They need a starting quarterback right now. And as far as free agency goes, Sam Bradford is your absolute best choice of the free agent quarterbacks there is right now. And then losing 30-0 to the Chiefs, getting embarrassed in front of a hometown crowd. You couldn't even score one fucking point. Your quarterback has 4 turnovers in just the first half, and then throws another interception in the second half. You tell me if they're not going to pay through the nose, and they got plenty of cap room to do it. Someone tweeted to me, it's funny, they said, boy, it looks like the Texans should have went after Blake Bortles instead of Jadeveon Clowney. The Jadeveon Clowney that isn't even playing in the playoffs, who's missed insurmountable amount of games since he's been drafted. I guess you should have went after Bortles there when you had that #1 pick, Texans. Oh well. I have a good feeling you're gonna see Jacksonville go into the playoffs over you next year, but let's be realistic. Andrew Luck will be back. One note, and I know everyone just harps on how big of a fucking blowout this was for the Chiefs. There's 2 points that I want to tell Chiefs fans to pump the brakes on a little bit, because things might not have been as good as they seem. Number one, the Maclin injury. If you're looking at that as just a high ankle sprain, you might not see him in for the rest of the playoffs. With Maclin out, you're going to need Maclin to get through a divisional and AFC championship round. I'm sorry, you can't get through those games on defense just alone. And that's really the one potent point on offense they have right now, especially to stretch the field. That's a huge blow, and I was rooting for Maclin. I'm even kind of sort of rooting for Andy Reid, even though I won't mind if he falls short. But they got their work cut out for them. And another point that I want to bring up to, again, have Chiefs fans pump their brakes over a little bit is you got 4 turnovers in the first half. Out of those 4 turnovers, you only got 6 points. And actually, no, not even just the turnovers, but offensive total in the first half. You got 6 points. 6 points. You had the kickoff in the beginning of the game. That doesn't count as an offensive touchdown. That's special teams. 6 points in the first half off of 4 turnovers. I hate to break it to you, but that's pretty fucking pathetic. You get 4 turnovers from a team, you should not be going into halftime with just 6 points of offense. I know you had the special teams touchdown on top of that. But that's pretty sad. Jamming good with Wits and Gilly and the Spiders from Mars. That's another thing about David Bowie. He made some good movies like Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, The Prestige, Labyrinth, a movie I still watch to this day. It's a movie I loved as a kid. Anyways, let's go on to the next game. Pittsburgh at the other team from Ohio that isn't the Cleveland Browns. I have never in my life... Come here, Cincinnati fans! I'll mention your city name. I have never seen a group of fans that I wanted to see witness their team lose as epically as they did, as much as I did Saturday night with this other team from Ohio that isn't the Browns fans. And I don't know how they did this. I don't know how other towns do this as well, but when I look at ESPN, Yahoo Sports, any number of publications out there, there isn't one single report, at least that I've seen, unless you look under the rocks that I'm not looking under. Where are all the reports of the disrespect, the ignorance, the outright classlessness of that other team from Ohio that isn't the Browns fans for cheering as Ben Roethlisberger is carted out of the stadium while the fans throw shit at him? If this was Philadelphia that it happened in, woohoo! Front page story! Classless assholes in Philadelphia being classless assholes. How do other teams and their fans get away with this? How? What's the secret? Because every single time this happens in Philadelphia, it's a big story. I mean, get much more classless than throwing shit and cheering at an injured guy when he's being carted off the stadium. And I'm not giving any sort of pass to acts that have happened in the Philadelphia history that warrant criticism. I'm not sitting there and saying, no, we should have got a pass for all that shit. It's just that, where is the fairness? And why is there so much blatant hypocrisy when it comes to attacking another fan base? Another team's fan base. They still talk about Philadelphia throwing snowballs at Jerry Jones. At Jimmy Johnson. Jerry Jones would have gotten thrown on too if he was running off the field. That was 26 fucking years ago. 26! It's not like what happened in Cincinnati was yesterday. It was a couple days ago. It's not like it was last week, last month, last year, 26 years ago. It was a couple days ago and you can't... Anyways, on to the game. All I gotta say is I'd rather be a fan of the Browns. If I lived in the state of Ohio and I was in some sort of neutral territory of who could you root for? Could you root for the Browns or the other NFL team from Ohio that isn't the Browns? I'd rather be a fan of the fucking abysmal pile of tire fires Browns team. How the Bengals lost this game, how that other team from Ohio that isn't the Browns lost this game. And I'm even tweeting out saying I've never seen a team that I wanted to have lose more than this team. And I hate the fucking Steelers. I hate fucking Roethlisberger. I hate that whole fucking team. But my God, if there was one team that deserved to rip out victory in the jaws of defeat, it was that Pittsburgh Steelers team. And to see Ben Roethlisberger come back on, to see Landry Jones throw that interception, Devontae's perfect, and to see Hill fumble that ball. If Hill doesn't fumble that ball, those two 15-yard penalties that came by Burfict and Adam Jones at the end of the game wouldn't even mattered. I was like, is this seriously happening? Pittsburgh is well out of field goal range. Ben has nothing on his passes. His shoulder's fucked. And you give them two 15-yard penalties? I don't care if you think that the perfect hit wasn't dirty, because a lot of people are saying, like, you know, well, what's he supposed to do? It's a bang-bang type play. If Brown holds on to that ball, it's considered a good hit. It's a good, clean hit to his chest, whatever. He makes contact with his head, his shoulder brushes by, whatever. I'm not here to argue that. The bottom line is, you got to be composure enough to not even give the refs a chance, especially if you are Vontae's perfect. When you know the game is going to be on the line. And for Adam Pac-Man Jones, I don't care if you think the assistant coach wasn't supposed to be on the field or not. You have enough composure to shut your fucking mouth, not pop off, and risk the penalty flag getting thrown. Did you see that Pittsburgh lineman? The second that Pac-Man Jones is going at it with the guys in the Steelers, the ref throws the flag. He's like, yes! Yes! They fucking baited him and he fell for it, you stupid motherfucker. You gave us a gimme field goal and you gave away the game. And your fans had to sit there and fucking watch it. Fuck you, Cincy-fucking-natty. I'd rather root for the fucking Browns. And fuck you for not getting criticism, crying about bad calls in our history. We have a right to be upset. Fuck you. No one excuses that shit. Oh, we're such a beleaguered franchise. We haven't won a game in 26 years. How can we not be frustrated? Fuck you. Fuck you. I'd rather root for the Browns. The Cleveland Browns should change their name saying, at least we're not Cincinnati. Better than Cincinnati. Better to root for us than Cincinnati. That's what the team name should be changed to. Anyways. I thought that was the most abysmal fucking loss of the weekend. And I was like, wow, nothing's gonna top a 30-point blowout. Then I saw how the other team from Ohio, that wasn't the Browns, lost. I was like, holy shit. It can't get much worse than that. By the way, this is my all-time favorite David Bowie song. It's called Life on Mars. The video will fucking trip you out if you watch it. Anyway, and her daddy has told her to go, but her friends and no. Okay. Yeah, just when I thought the abysmal losing ended, I was like, well, nothing can top Saturday night. In walks the Minnesota Vikings versus the Seattle Seahawks in a game where kickoff time, the temperature was -6. All right. Think about this game. Does it really look like an old school football game? It had that old school football vibe. A good playoff matchup. Both teams are fucking just beating the shit out of each other. It's a close contest. And I kept tweeting out during this game every single time. And just, if you want to see something really interesting, watch my timeline of tweets. The link for my Twitter's in the video description. Watch my timeline of tweets for this Minnesota Vikings game. Because I kept saying two things. Number one, I can't wait to see how abysmally Minnesota is going to fuck up this game and lose. And two, relying on kicking just field goals is not going to win this game. I'm not making that shit up. The timeline is dated and everything, so I'm not just making that up after the fact. And a number of you were watching me tweeting live during the game. You can't beat a team that is a championship caliber team with just field goals. You just can't. I don't care if they're looking like fucking dog shit on offense. You're just not going to win the game. Now, I know it took a fucking miracle for them to end up winning this game. It took a miraculous... And I said this was the turning point of the game. When Russell Wilson, he's putting his mouthpiece and the ball goes over his right shoulder and he's like, ah, shit, or left shoulder, whatever shoulder it was. Goes back beyond his 50-yard line. He has to run down, slide, catch the ball, and just throws up to the first down marker, gets a reception, takes it down to the 4-yard line. I said that was your turning point of the game. You give a championship team an opportunity like that where they make chicken salad out of dog shit. I know it's not the catchphrase, but go with it. When you give a championship caliber team an opportunity like that, They are not going to lose the game. Now, granted, they coughed it up defensively and let Minnesota get into field goal range. Laces in, laces out. I know Walsh is getting a lot of heat for what happened. Your guess is as good as mine as to what the fuck happened. And some people are saying, like, oh, it was rigged. Clearly, you know, no one wants to see Minnesota or Bridgewater, who now I'm convinced is one of the most unreliable, unmotivating quarterbacks in the league right now. And I was tweeting this out during the game. I was like, you know, could Bridgewater act like he's like trying to motivate his team, like trying to raise tempo? Because he looked like such a fucking sad sack the whole time. I'm just like, how could you really want to step up and go to war for this guy? And are you glad you re-signed Adrian Peterson in Minnesota? Because he had a pretty key fucking fumble in that game too. But we all want to put the pressure on Walsh for the loss, which granted, I know he should kick that 100 times out of 100 times. But last I checked, he was the only one that put fucking points on the scoreboard for Minnesota. And frankly, he didn't fumble the ball for Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson did. And frankly, he wasn't holding on to the top of the ball either. For someone who's a veteran running back who knows better, who, you know, has got numerous rushing titles, why don't you hold on to the top of the fucking ball, especially in cold weather? It's a scene from Labyrinth, by the way. Excellent, excellent movie. That game, I was just, I couldn't believe it. I was fucking stunned. Like, and again, people are saying how, like, oh, this is rigged because no one wants to see Minnesota over Seattle in a potential Super Bowl. If that shit was rigged, right before they kick a field goal, Minnesota almost gets a first down. Like, they fall like a foot and a half short. Like, they get that first down, the game's over. It's safe to say they're going to get another yard or two or get an even closer field goal. Anyways, I don't know. If you honestly think the game is rigged, don't fucking watch it. Like, why would you watch and support a league that you think is rigged? Like, that's the thing I've never understood. If you honest to God believe that the NFL is rigged, how could you bring yourself to watch it and enjoy it? Like, if something I felt was genuinely, truly rigged, it's like, you know, if you vote in an election and you're like, oh, our government's so corrupt, you know, this guy's going to win no matter what. Why would you vote? Why would you take time out of your day to vote if you think something is absolutely, completely rigged or whatever? Anyway, something I wanted to point out. Sorry, see how many songs I have left in the playlist. This might run out. Anyways, 3 for 3 on my picks so far going into that point. And then the Washington Redskins game happens. Packers come in to FedEx Field. Washington scores 3 times. 3 times right out the gate. Deshaun, why did you have to shift the ball in your hand? I picked the Redskins to win this game because, in all honesty, and I know people are like how people coming at me after the game say, like, you know, how did anyone honestly think the Redskins were going to win this game? The fuck? It's got the remix version of the song. Anyways, I don't know what the fuck they're doing there. Skipping to the end of that shit. I don't know what the fuck that was. I picked the Redskins to win this game for 2 reasons. Number 1, I wasn't impressed by anything Green Bay did this year. And that's the thing. People are quick to point out the Redskins. I'm an alligator. I'm a mama papa coming for you. I'm a space invader. I'll be a rock and rollin' bitch for you. Is that Green Bay has done, I thought, equally as nothing as the Redskins. Like, people were like, oh, the Redskins haven't beat any plus 500 teams. They played 3 plus 500 teams all year. The Jets, the Patriots, and the Panthers. And, oh, they lost to the Patriots and the Panthers? Okay, I give a pass on that. Should they beat the Jets? Okay, I would have been impressed if they beat the Jets. But you can't fault them for their schedule. And who has the Packers beat? Who have the Packers beat? They beat Kansas City pre-week 5. And they beat Seattle pre-week 5. Both when Kansas City and Seattle couldn't figure out their elbow from their asshole. So frankly, those wins, I can only take so much credit, and after that, Green Bay beat no one worth a damn. They beat the Vikings at one point. That's a divisional matchup. Okay, I'm not really that fucking impressed with it. And that fucking O-line looks like absolute shit in the end of the season. I was like, I know that's an MVP caliber quarterback and arguably the best quarterback in the league to this day in Aaron Rodgers. But that O-line just looks so fucking bad going into the playoffs. And Washington gets that safety right off the bat. I'm like, oh, here we go. Oh boy, it ain't gonna be a fun game. That O-line is going to get bitched out. And frankly, that was more on Rodgers. You can't hold the ball that long when you know you're in the other team's end zone. You can't. You gotta be smart in that. But then Washington settles for a field goal from a 1st and goal at the 2-foot line, and I'm like, okay, we're up 5-0, you know, or at that point 8-0. Well, because they just. Did they get the touchdown first? The field goal? Anyways, did they get a touchdown and a field goal? They miss an extra point. They settle for a field goal on what should have been a touchdown. Yeah, it was 5, and then they got the touchdown. It get up 11-0. And little did we know that this was the big comeback of the wild card weekend. Down 11 points, Aaron Rodgers takes this game over. The second Aaron Rodgers takes the lead, you see him start smiling and laughing. And the second I saw that, I was like, it's over. It's over. Aaron Rodgers is not going to let the Packers lose this game. And on top of that, Green Bay finds their running game again on top of everything else. And I'm just like, I wouldn't want to play this Packers team right now. Oh well, Washington. I had confidence in you that you were going to win this game, but little did I know the Packers were going to wake the fuck up, and they did. I was wrong, and I was confident in that pick. That was the one thing that really disappointed me in my picks. Obviously, it was the only pick I got wrong. It was the only pick in my when I put out my Twitter poll that you guys were 50-50 on. It ended up being 51% Packers, 49% to the Redskins. And don't worry, I'm not going to forget to show you the Twitter results this week for the picks. But I was wrong. The Packers woke the fuck up, and frankly, I should have put more stock and credit to the fact that that's a team, and specifically a quarterback, that knows how to win in the postseason, and that's exactly what you saw. Experience and expertise and veteran leadership at the quarterback position just took over. They found their running game again. And we'll get to what they'll do next week in a second here. Just one last thing. I want everyone to raise their hands and go like this and congratulate the Washington Redskins for winning the NFC East in a year where the 3 other teams finished with sub-500 records. Start clapping! Do you like that? Yeah, I do like that. I really do, Kirk. I like it a lot. See you next year, Buttercup. Let's get on to this week's pick, shall we? The wild card weekend. I mean, the divisional weekend. Kansas City at New England. Tight vote. 2 very tight votes this week from you guys on my Twitter feed. In case you don't know, I put the things out and you guys pick, as you can see. You guys got Kansas City beating New England 52 to 48%. I gotta admit, I'm as mind-tossed with that game as that poll result is. I can't say I feel strongly either way. Just the Patriots and that offensive line. But granted, I said the same thing about the Packers. And the Packers, that offensive line, I can't see them winning with an offensive line looking that bad. Jesus Christ. Fame makes a man take things over. But at the same time, like I said, if there's no Macklin for Kansas City, I see that New England defense just having their way, and I'm just not confident picking against New England in this game. I'm just not confident. But goddamn, New England looked like such dog shit in that Dolphins game. That's all that keeps coming back to my mind. And granted, Kansas City's played an extra week while New England's had an extra week of rest. And if, all things being pretty much equal, well, obviously one quarterback is better than the other. Alex Smith is no Tom Brady. But totality-wise, team versus team, things are pretty equal when you level things out. I got to give the advantage to the team that had an extra week of rest and has the quarterback and the coach that has many a rings on their finger. Picking New England. Green Bay at Arizona. Well, you guys seem to speak pretty loudly about that one. 78% think Arizona's going to win this game to 22% to Green Bay. I must admit that I think that result is kind of shocking because that's a 3-4 margin. It's a little bit higher than a 3-4 margin, 78%. I thought the way that Green Bay looked was going to breed more confidence in the fan base. And by the way, you guys were 4 for 4 last week with your poll results, including that very slim margin of you that pushed the Packers over the Redskins in their pick. So congratulations to everyone that voted correctly. Anyway, I'm surprised that everyone sees Green Bay as such a minor chance of succeeding. Now, I won't lie, Arizona is the deepest team in the playoffs right now. But I gotta ask you a question. What has Carson Palmer done in the playoffs? Okay? Go ahead and research that, look it up or whatever, or just, blurt it out and tell me. What has Carson Palmer done that would convince you that he is going to show up and back up something as lopsided as this? What's to say that what we saw last week from Aaron Rodgers isn't the real deal that you're going to see this week? Now, I know people are going to be like, well, hold on. That Arizona defense is monstrous compared to that Washington Redskins defense. And I'll give you that. I ain't going to lie. I got the Packers winning this game. No guts, no glory. Fuck it. I'll pick the Pack. I just have a bad feeling. I have a bad feeling that the Washington Redskins woke this fucking Packers team up and they're like, look, do we want to get embarrassed on the road in the first round? Or do we want to realize that we're every bit as good as a team that won the Super Bowl just a few years ago? And that we have the best quarterback in the league behind center. Do we want to squander that for a year? We don't know what next year is going to bring us, what next season is going to bring us. Stop dicking around. We can beat every team that's in front of us. We have the skill to do it. I think they're going to prove just that. So I'm going against the grain. You guys picked correctly last week, and I might eat my words here. If I do, I do. Next up, Seattle at Carolina. Pretty big commanding lead for Seattle there. I mean, for Carolina. 61% of you think Carolina's going to win over 39% Seattle. I'll admit, Carolina hasn't impressed me all that much that year. I was expecting a lot more people to bet on Seattle on this one. The team that beat Carolina in the playoffs just last year, that has the Super Bowl experience, back-to-back Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. And you got to wonder, is Cam Newton really ready to beat a primetime team like this? Like, yeah, they won the playoffs last year against a fourth-string quarterback in the Cardinals, so you can only take too much stock on that. That Carolina team is deep as hell, but there's no denying that Seattle is a championship team. And I know people are going to be like, they won 10-9 last week. You can't be impressed with that. They beat the Cowboys 13-12. Earlier in the season. They lose to the Rams pretty much every year. They lost to the Rams in Seattle in the final stretch of the season, and I'm just like, the team is Jekyll and Hyde, but I think you're going to see a really good Seattle team show up because they know they underperformed last week. And they know they underperformed hard. And you know I am no fan of Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers and all that shit. Carolina is not going to go 1-0. They are going to win this game. Had to tease you there, Carolina fans. I got Carolina winning this game. I'm with you, voters. The voters have spoken, and I'm with you. Pittsburgh at Denver. Don't get much closer than that. By the way, I put up another poll. Let me bring it up. Where is it at? Just kill time while I'm scrolling through looking for polls. I said, 292 of you voted. I said, who had the more pathetic loss this weekend? Cincinnati or Minnesota? 292% of you voted. Look what the results ended up being. Could you have it end any other way? Anyways, you guys got Pittsburgh with a slight margin, 51% to 49% over Denver this week, and we all know how I feel about the bitch coming back to quarterback, the Denver Broncos. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm just going to cut to the chase, because frankly, I hate this game for a lot of reasons, because I feel you're going to see a Denver team get eliminated. A Denver team that could get to the Super Bowl if they didn't rely on the bitch coming back, and that people weren't delusional and thinking that he's still a good quarterback just because he has experience in the postseason. He's experienced getting one and done. And it would be so much fitting to have his career end with a one and done here. But let's be realistic. One's selfish, always selfish. That selfish fucking prick will be back next year. You'll see him quarterback and finish his season. He'll probably get a career-ending injury, and that's what a selfish prick like him, honestly. Yeah, I don't want to wish. I'm not wishing injury on him or something. But if that happened, I mean, could you not blame it for happening? For someone that selfish who can't give up the game, who has nothing left to prove in this game? Like, your legacy isn't gonna be any more or less, enhanced, even if you got to a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. You're still going to be one of the game's best quarterbacks ever. But you're a bitch, and you're a selfish prick. But you know what else? The Broncos are too deep to lose to this Steelers team. And they're not going to. That and Ben and Brown are just not going to be 100% coming in. There's no way they're going to be 100% coming into this game. I got Broncos winning. Which means if my predictions come true, we're going to have a Broncos-Patriots AFC Championship game again. Well, let's see where my predictions go this week. Let's see if you guys pick correctly on Twitter again. After the games wrap up on Saturday and Sunday, I'll put the it's gonna be 2 picks for next week. Let's see how you guys do with your picks again this week. Anyways, 3 for 1 in the wild card round. That's what I get for trying to believe that an NFC East team could do anything this year. Oh well. Have a good day. Rest in peace, Davy Jones, Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie, whatever you want to call him. And he was Lady Gaga before Lady Gaga ever existed. That's the bottom line anyways. Have a good day, everyone. And fuck the Dallas Cowboys. Take care, guys.